Welcome to Impact OC, the only program showcasing the people and organizations shaping Orange County. With your host, Don Camber.
Hello, live from the OC Talk Radio studios at UCI's Beal Applied Innovation Center. I'm OC Talk Radio Public Affairs Director Don Camber with another great guest positively impacting our community. Today I welcome Orange County Transportation Authority Chief Executive Officer Daryl Johnson. He oversees all transportation-related projects and modes in Orange County to keep everyone moving. Thank you, Daryl, for being on Impact OC.
Thanks, Don. Very excited to be here. We've done this before, and I was looking forward to doing it again today.
Well, Daryl, today we're focusing on improvements to Interstate 405, including the 405 express lanes, in which motorists pay a toll to speed up their commutes by using the express lanes, which are 2 lanes in each direction in the center of the freeway between State Route 73 in Costa Mesa and the I-605 at the Orange County border with Los Angeles County. Please explain how it works.
Absolutely. So I think first and foremost, it's important for our listeners to know that the 405 express lanes was just one component of a larger project we call it the 405 Improvement Project, which was part of the Measure M2 voter-approved sales tax measure that was passed by the voters of Orange County in 2006. So part of that, first of all, it was the largest highway project in the state of its kind when it was under construction. We improved 16 miles of Interstate 405 between Costa Mesa and the Orange County border with Los Angeles County. We added a free lane in each direction. That means everybody can use it, no restrictions of any type. Between Euclid Street and the 605. And then we added a second lane in the middle of the freeway combined with the existing or the former carpool lane became the 405 express lane. So now there's an express toll facility in addition to new regular lanes in each direction. The other important part, I think, is we improved local streets and roads. We replaced 18 bridges. All those bridges over the 405 in Fountain Valley and Westminster now have sidewalks. They have bike lanes. They have new lighting, new pavement, and they have lanes in each direction they didn't have before. So pretty big project overall.
So explain how it works.
So how it works. So if you're a driver in Southern California and if you have a transponder or a toll account from any agency in the entire state, it could be a 91 Express Lanes account, it could be a South County TCA account or toll roads account, it could be a San Diego County account, it could also be an account in Northern California in the Bay Bridge. If you have an account, currently, you can drive on the 405 express lanes, and there's a toll that's charged by time of day, by hour of day, and by direction. If you don't have an account, you can sign up online, get an account. You can sign up with us. You can sign up with the toll roads. You can sign up with LA Metro. You can sign up with Riverside County. Anybody that has a toll account anywhere in the state can sign up for that. And then you pay a fee based upon the time of day. Also, some great discounts on carpools. I can tell you about that if you'd like. So if you're a solo driver, you're always going to pay a toll. If you're a 2-person carpool, so 2 people in a car, it's free for the first 3.5 years during the non-peak hour. So away from rush hour, basically, middle of the day, after rush hour in the evening. And then you'll pay a toll during the peak hours. But here's the thing I think is really important, Don. If you have 3 people in your car, you're always free. So I want to repeat that. If there's 3 people in your car, you have an account, and you go through the proper process of switching your transponder, which we can talk about.
That's the key. You got to switch the transponder.
You got to switch it. And then always free. And that's a really important, and I want people to know that's a discount. That's an important discount because we're in this to make sure that the 405 corridor works better for everyone and making sure that those times when you have 3 people in your car, you flip that transponder and you can go for free.
But if you don't have a transponder, many people have the sticker. But in order to get the discount, you have to have the transponder. But describe the sticker that many people have.
So there is a sticker that toll agencies in California can use, and it's the simplest form. It's cheap, it's easy, it goes on your windshield, but it doesn't have a switch on it for obvious reasons. It's a sticker. So if you want to be able to use the carpool discount, you can go to your toll agency. You can go to the 405 express lanes and 91 express lanes, all those entities I was talking about. They have various cost structures, everything from free to a few dollars to buy that transponder. But when you get that switchable transponder, then you choose, do I have 1 person in the car, 2 or 3? And then you get the appropriate discount. Now, of course, if you're not telling the truth, that also gets noticed, and you have the opportunity to get a violation for not telling the truth about the occupancy in your vehicle as well.
Is there a camera on the toll station, so to speak?
There's a couple of things going on. One is there's a number of locations on the facility, on the lanes, that have an overhead transponder reader, and they light up a different color based upon the switch position on the transponder. That can be used by law enforcement. We have special contracts with the California Highway Patrol, and they look at the color of that activation, and there's enforcement zones, and they're looking for those violations. Not today, but in the future, we would expect the industry would have true occupancy detection, will automatically determine through various ways if there's 1, 2, 3, 4 or more people in the car. We're not there today, but I think the future is going to be there.
And it's okay to have a sticker and a transponder on your windshield.
It is okay. I would suggest if for people to have the most accurate recording of their trip and their toll, pick one or the other. And if you want to get those discounts, and I want to emphasize, if you want to get those discounts, which are so important, get that switchable transponder. You can move it from vehicle to vehicle if you'd like. You don't have to get two if you don't want to, but make sure both of your cars or all of your cars are registered on your account properly by license plate.
Is it working as intended?
It's absolutely working as intended. We opened on December 1st, so we're just a little more than 6 months of full operations. And the industry sort of thinks that you need about a year to understand, all the seasons, different times of the year, daylight, savings, all those other things. But we're seeing very close to projections. We're nearly about 80% of our traffic projections. We've recorded nearly 8 million trips on the 405 express lanes in the first 6 months. And each trip might go under multiple locations. Our back office system, we call it, has recorded nearly 30 million individual toll transactions. So it is working. Speeds are at the speed limit during rush hour. That's our goal, is to sell a trip that people can find reliable and safe. 65 miles an hour at rush hour is a pretty good deal in Southern California. The other thing that's working as intended is by adding free capacity on the 405 express lanes and building those new on-ramps and off-ramps. Local streets are flowing better, and the speeds are up and congestion is down in the regular part of the 405 as well. And that's the goal. We wanted it to work for everyone.
So there is the Orange County Transportation Authority, which deals with these toll lanes, but we're all familiar with the transportation corridor agencies, which deal with the other tolls. So explain how the funding works.
Absolutely. So let me start with the Orange County Transportation Authority, the organization I represent. So we have owned the 91 express lanes since 2003. It was the very first tolled express lanes, all electronic tolled express lanes anywhere in the country. And now we own the 405 express lane. So we own and operate the oldest express lane anywhere in the U.S., and we operate the newest express lane anywhere in the U.S. A lot of experience doing that. We think it works well, dealing with peak hour congestion in particular. Then we have a separate entity known as the Transportation Corridor Agencies, or the toll roads, that have direct responsibility for the 241, the 73, the 133, and the 261. Great partner. Their project, if you will, that is toll financed. There are no taxpayer dollars on their financing. The operations are paid with tolls. The maintenance is paid with your tax dollars, with your state gas tax dollars from the state of California. But they, particularly South Orange County and maybe a little bit of Central Orange County, supported by the existing freeway network. And then when we come to the funding on the 91 express lanes and the 405 express lanes, really important to know that there are no tax dollars used on the express lanes portion of the facility on the 91 or the 405. All of the maintenance, operations, back office system, and construction is either paid directly by tolls or financed based upon future tolls that will come into the organization.
But the funds that from the 405, do they stay with the OCTA, and what do they cover?
They do. It's a great question. So state law, when we built the facility, as planning for the facility, we were able to change 3 laws. 2 of them focused with this ability to make sure that not only did the tolls that are collected in the 405 stay within Orange County, but very focused on this idea that we could only reinvest those what we call net excess toll revenues into projects in the 405 corridor. Now we can invest in the future if we have net excess toll revenue, which we don't yet. We could invest in other freeway projects on the 405 corridor. We could invest in local streets and roads projects, active transportation, transit investment. We could run express buses, for example, in the 405. We don't have a net excess toll revenue yet. We would anticipate that probably in 8 to 10 years. But on the 91 express lanes, we do have net excess toll revenue because the financing is much lower. We've been paying that debt down for a long time. We've been investing in Metrolink service in the 91 corridor. We plan to build a new Metrolink station in the city of Placentia. We've invested in express bus service in the corridor, and we've invested in additional free lanes on the 91 corridor because of those toll revenues. In fact, later this year, we plan to award a construction contract to add some additional freeway capacity between the 91, between the 55 and the 57. That will be paid largely from net excess toll revenues collected on the 91.
How do you handle violations?
Well, violations, the best way to handle violations is not to get one, of course. So have your toll account set up, make sure your cars are registered properly. If you do drive on the 405 or the 91 and you don't have a transponder, you're going to get a violation notice. We will give you an opportunity to either call or go online, take care of that violation. We would like you, if you don't have an account, generally speaking, we would encourage you to sign up, give you the opportunity to waive that violation and turn it into an account. So if you're a first-time offender, you didn't know what was going on, we're going to try to turn you into understanding how to use it, what the benefit is. Repeat violators, there's a fee structure. Obviously, we want to be fair and equitable to all the users. So there is a violation structure. It's sort of laid out, if you will, in state statute in terms of what that structure is. But at the end of the day, we're going to continue to make sure that violators get notified. It's important that you have your registration up to date, that you have your proper address for your vehicle, for your car. That's where you're going to get the notification of violation.
And it's going to be the camera that's going to take a picture of the license plate, and then based on where the license plate is connected to, that's how they'll get the violation in the mail.
That's correct. So every time your vehicle goes through an express lane, 91 or 405, when it goes under what we call a reader, transactions recorded. So it's looking for a transponder first, and it's also looking at the license plate, particularly the rear license plate. If there is no transponder recorded, we're going to look at the license plate. If, for example, you had a dead battery in your transponder, or you forgot to put it on the dash, or for some other reason, if that license plate is associated with an account, we'll go ahead and bill the account as appropriate. But if you don't have an account associated with it, we're going to have access under state statute, and privacy is important and all of those things. But we'll have access through the DMV of the home address where we can send a violation notice to you and give you the opportunity to take care of that toll.
Well, please share with us the 405 Express Lanes website to get more information on this.
405expresslanes.com is the best way to go. So www.405expresslanes.com should have all the information there. You can also sign up for social media at octa.net if you like feeds from Instagram or Facebook or other social media. We put information out there as well, but the website is 405expresslanes.com.
Talk about Measure M. That is the mechanism which pays for transportation in Orange County.
We're really fortunate in Orange County that twice now, 1991 and again in 2006, that the voters of Orange County chose to tax themselves 1/2 cent on sales tax for dedicated transportation purposes. So the first one in Orange County was 91 to 2011, 20 years of improvements on Interstate 405, State Route 55, State Route 91, Interstate 5, all improved. Local streets and roads, pothole repair, new streets, signal synchronization, the beginning of MetroLink, transit subsidies for seniors and disabled. And with that, this idea that those promises were made and kept by OCTA, the voters re-upped that in 2006. So that now goes from 2011 out to 2041. So we're about halfway through a 30-year sales tax measure. That's allowed us to do more improvements on construction on Interstate 5, which is underway today in South Orange County, State Route 55, which is under construction. It paid for the non-toll portions of Interstate 405. That was a $2.2 billion project. And without Measure M2, we wouldn't have been able to do those things. We've also invested over $1 billion since 2011 in local streets and roads, pothole repair, pavement condition, signal synchronization, new left turn lanes, new right turn lanes. That's resulted in us having the best pavement condition index of any county in California by far. Those things don't happen overnight. They don't happen by accident. It's really, we should say thank you to the voters for their support.
So that's the sales tax on anything we buy in Orange County?
Absolutely. So whether you're going to Costco, you're going to buy a new car, you're going to buy a dishwasher, you're going to the home improvement store, if there is state sales tax collected, 1/2 cent of that sales tax collected is returned to the Orange County Transportation Authority to go into transportation. and there's a voter-approved statute that says how we have to spend that. And each year, there's an independent taxpayer oversight committee that has to find us in compliance with that. They just completed their hearing. We're 34 straight years into complying with the independent taxpayer oversight committee's approvals.
When would that sales tax cease?
Currently, it goes through the spring of 2041.
All right, so we have a long way to go.
A little bit of time, but transportation projects take a long time to plan. I think if I were looking in the crystal ball, Orange County should be thinking in the next 10 years or so, by 2030 to 2034, what they want to do beyond 2041. So we can think about what we want our future to look like and how we can make sure that we're investing and protecting and keeping our assets, our transportation assets, in a state of good repair beyond 2041.
So how are things going now? You have a lot of things in your planning, but in terms of keeping up with traffic?
I think overall we're doing well. There's clearly been some traffic changes in traffic patterns in a post-COVID environment. So we see a later rush hour in the morning. We see a little bit earlier rush hour in the afternoon, an extended rush hour. We see more trips during the day. We see a little bit less daytime traffic on local streets and roads and a little bit more in the freeway system. The bus system is going well. The commuter rail system, people still aren't really working back in the office 5 days a week. So the Metrolink service from Orange County to Los Angeles is about half capacity still. But we feel like we're keeping up with congestion. It's a never-ending battle and fight. And as you know, we only control one piece of it. The Transportation Authority doesn't make land use decisions about where new housing development goes or where new businesses go or hours at schools or universities or other things. We're responding oftentimes to those decisions. We work with our local cities, we work with the county, but we're responding to land use decisions that are many, many years in the making.
And that's how you kind of plan in the future to anticipate traffic patterns?
Absolutely. So South Orange County is one part of the county that is building new housing on a large scale basis. So there's development in Rancho Mission Viejo. So we're working with the County of Orange, with the developer about what road network is needed to support what we currently have today is Antonio Parkway, State Highway 74, Ortega Highway, La Pata Road, which was a partnership between the county and OCTA and the home developer 6-7 years ago. There's a thought process of extending Las Patronas Parkway in south of Ortega Highway to deal with future demand. But we want to do it in a smart way that makes sense, that doesn't sort of lead to sprawl in and of itself, but supports good planning on the housing side, the land use side, and the transportation side.
Well, let's talk about some other improvements. The I-5 Santa Ana.
Yes. So right now we have 6 miles of construction on Interstate 5 in South Orange County. And that is from the 73 interchange up to about El Toro Road. It's 6 miles, about $600 million. A third of it paid by Measure M, a third of it paid by the state of California, a third of it paid by the federal government transportation programs. And it's adding, rebuilding the Avery interchange, which is really, really old, undersized, safety improvements. Same thing at La Paz, old, undersized, needing safety improvements. We're adding a lane in each direction, new retaining walls, some new sound walls. And then I think for our listeners that know about the El Toro Y, particularly when you're coming south in the afternoon and 2 carpool lanes converge into one, we're going to extend that all the way down almost to Alicia, so there's more opportunity for merging and people getting out of that. So we think that's going to be a big improvement as well. And we think that we're planning for the lanes to be open by the end of calendar year 2024. There'll be follow-on work with landscaping and other things, but we want the lanes to be open by the end of the calendar year.
State Route 55, the Costa Mesa Freeway project.
So we're about 30% complete on adding a second carpool lane on State Route 55 and a regular general purpose lane between Interstate 405 and between Interstate 5. So it's a short 4-mile segment. For our listeners that are familiar with that route, I know you are, it's not a lot of space there, lots of utilities, lots of commercial buildings. We're working really hard to fit as many good features in there, safety features, HOV, carpool lane features, better on and off ramps, better pavement, better lighting, better sight lines. We expect that to be done at the end of 2026, so we're just under the halfway mark. Project's going well. Some of that funding, in fact, a little over $100 million was made available to OCTA through the Senate Bill 1 that passed in 2017. Some people might call it the new gas tax. It's competitive dollars that came back to Orange County. So more than $100 million was dedicated to that project from Senate Bill 1. So we're excited about that as well.
I am curious. We talk about the gas tax, but a lot of people drive electric vehicles. Is that going to be a problem in terms of paying for improvements?
I think, Don, it will be a problem. In fact, I think it already is a problem. There's two sides to every story. The good news about electric vehicles is local pollution, tailpipe emissions clearly are reduced or eliminated. Clearly, there's emissions in terms of how that vehicle is built and all of those things that you hear about. But they currently don't pay a gas tax, but they use the road. And the gas tax is the oldest user fee in transportation. The idea was the more miles you travel, the more gas you use, the more wear and tear you put on the pavement, the more you pay. Well, the electric vehicle or zero emission vehicle, hydrogen, electric, or the two popular ones, of course, they don't pay any gas tax. So we now see 30% of our all new car sales in California, and same in Orange County, are zero emission vehicles. Senate Bill 1 in 2017 added a minor fee, $100 annual registration fee, but it doesn't make up for the loss in gas tax revenue. And I'll use myself as an example. I drove an electric car for 8 years. I didn't pay any gas tax. I paid a little bit each year to register it, but I'm under the current construct not paying my fair share, if you will. So that needs to be worked out over time, and I think it will be a gradual shift. In my belief, it will be a shift from a gas tax, if you will, to some type of other fee that tries to fairly put the usage of the road with the user. I think it's important to note that it shouldn't be an additive. It shouldn't be a gas tax plus some other type of tax, but we need to find a way that people that use the road are paying their fair share. And historically, it's been through the gas tax, but with zero emission vehicles, that's changing.
Continuing on, State Route 91, the Riverside Freeway project.
We've got some big things coming up there. Later this year, we're going to break ground on the first segment. It's going to be between Lakeview Avenue and State Route 55. The segment is really going to focus on this idea that when you're trying to get on at Lakeview, you can either go west or south, if you will, east, west or south in particular. And there's a lot of traffic, a lot of weaving, and a lot of merging. So we're going to reconstruct the Lakeview Avenue overcrossing. It'll include new lanes, standard lanes, shoulders and sidewalks in each direction, plus more importantly, realigning the westbound on-ramp so you can either stay on the 91 if you want to, or drop directly into southbound 55 without having to merge over all those lanes. That creates a lot of congestion, a lot of bottleneck, particularly in the AM rush hour. We're excited about that. Should break ground late 2024 and expected to be finished in 2026.
So you recently approved nearly $2 billion budget for the fiscal year, which began July 1st, and explain how that is going to break down.
So our board of directors unanimously approved the OCTA budget of $1.76 billion, so just under $1.8 billion for a fiscal year that began on July 1st. About half of that, so 52%, is going into transit operations, transit capital, so running the bus system, providing OC access or paratransit service, and also buying new buses going forward. And that's pretty traditional for us. The other half is focused on freeway improvements, streets and road improvements, and things of that nature. It's a good budget. It's balanced. We're using no reserves. The history and sort of the personality, if you will, of OCTA is to not pay for things with a credit card. We pay cash. We have good reserves. We save in advance. So it's a very balanced budget. It's very focused on making sure that we're keeping all of our promises under Measure M. We continue to convert our bus fleet to zero emission buses away from compressed natural gas and going to either hydrogen or battery electric. We're focusing on that. We're also doing work to protect the rail line in South Orange County as it relates to recent issues about private property erosion and sea level rise that's harming the rail line. So there's investment in climate resiliency planning as well. And one of the more fun things in the budget, we're funding summer trolleys in a lot of the beach cities. We do a lot of seasonal funding of trolleys in San Clemente, Dana Point, Laguna Beach, Newport. They're fun to look at, they're fun to ride, but they really remove a lot of peak hour weekend beach traffic, and it really helps those communities, and we're excited about that as well.
And that's something that occurs during the summertime, pretty much.
Absolutely. It's, we found that it's great to run a bus system that people that need to ride the bus system, communities that need a bus system, 40-foot buses every 10 minutes. We should absolutely do that wherever we need it. But we have a lot of parts of our community that are very seasonal, tourist-driven. The beaches are the perfect example. We may not need to run a weekend shuttle in February in San Clemente, but we'd absolutely need to run it between Memorial Day and Labor Day, probably Thursday through Sunday, maybe 7 days a week in some of the peak weeks.
Well, how do you compare the way OCTA is run compared to the transportation agency in Los Angeles?
Well, I think we have different challenges for sure. OCTA is Orange County is the fifth largest county in the nation, 3.2 million people, 42 miles of coastline packed into about 400 livable square acres, not counting the mountain areas, of course. Los Angeles is very, very big, 10 million people, 87 cities, lots and lots of challenges, huge city, huge airport. They do have sales tax measures to support what they've been doing. Their policy decisions in recent years have been much more focused on expanding the rail transit system and the subway system and less on the freeway system. We've taken a little bit of a different approach here in Orange County, and I think it shows when you look at the freeway system and the local streets and road system. It also shows that we don't have a light rail system, we don't have a subway system, different types of things. But I also think that we have to work together synergistically as a region of 22 million people. LA County, San Bernardino County, Riverside County, Orange County, Ventura County, and we have to work together to make things better for everyone, but we also have to have local solutions. And I think what's important in Orange County is that our local cities, our residents have a voice through that process. Our board of directors has a process and have a voice that's very important, and they made those decisions about how we want to invest in our transportation system.
How can people express their voice to OCTA?
Lots of different ways. Of course, we have public hearings on the budget. Every project has a public outreach process, whether it's the environmental process or the planning process. You can also go to our website. You can come to committee meetings and board meetings. You can pull a speaker's card and speak in public. You can submit things in writing. We have a Citizens Advisory Committee that has appointments available. In some instances, we have a diverse community leaders outreach group that basically making sure that we're reaching deep into the diverse communities, which are many in Orange County. They meet every 2 months, and they have for the last decade. And then also through your local cities as well. We have a technical advisory committee that's made up of the city engineer and public works director from every city. They take into account what their city council thinks. So I think there's a lot of opportunities. We can always, of course, have new ideas, I'm sure, but bringing those ideas forward, providing input and communications. And the one thing I would say, Don, is the public should get involved early. If you want to make your suggestion when the project's under construction, you're already too late. The decisions are made when you're going through that planning process and the state environmental clearance process. And a lot of people are busy and they're focused on the here and now, and we understand that. One of the great things, if there is one, coming out of the pandemic is people are much more used to now doing things virtual, whether it's Zoom or Teams or conference calls or other things. We're trying to do a lot more of our public outreach in that space so more people can participate when it's convenient for them.
Well, if they want to send you a message, how would they do that?
They can send a message. They can go to our website. There's an area, the clerk of the board's office. There's public information. And if they're looking for a specific message on a specific project, there's a project area on our website, which is octa.net. There's a project area. Every project area has a point of contact, an individual with a name, a phone number, an email address, and a picture. We're not hiding from the public. We want people to know who they can go to directly.
So what are the top issues regarding transportation in Orange County?
I think the top issues for us are really three things in Orange County. One is we absolutely have to maintain the system we have. We've done such a good job as a county over the last 2 decades in particular of maintaining the quality of our system. Drive the streets and roads, drive the freeway system. They are better than our neighbors. That's not a criticism. It's a focus on, it's a comment on how we have focused and how our board of directors and how our cities have focused. So we need to make sure we keep that up. Second is we need to deliver on the promises we made to the voters in 2006 about what projects we're going to do when they said 70% of the voters said, we're going to add a tax to ourselves. Here's the list of projects, whether it's the 55, the 91, I-5. We need to do all of those. And we're well on our way to doing all of those. And the last one is I think we have to plan for a little bit different future. We're a county that's growing not as much as we used to in terms of population growth. And we know from the 2010 to the 2020 census, we're aging in place as well. So we have to think about the types of services and programs and transportation that people will need in the future as they age, which are different than what they might have needed before. So those are the three big things I would say on our mind. Finally, with one big wrap up there, is that we have to make sure that we have the clear, transparent manner in which we are using taxpayer dollars to do all of those things.
Thank you, Orange County Transportation Authority Chief Executive Officer Daryl Johnson, for being on Impact OC. And I thank everyone for tuning in. I'm OC Talk Radio Public Affairs Director Dawn Camber. Have an impactful day.
You've been listening to Impact OC, the only program showcasing the people and organizations shaping our community. Right here on Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio.